there, scary story fanatics. Welcome back to Cleaving Thought from Bone with your host, Sociopathic. It's night 12 of this 13-day marathon, and we're this close to the big night. But before we get there, let's finish up this little terror trilogy by Doughboy420 with Halloween Spirit, Part 3.
"Trick or treat," a group of boys happily said, as a 30-something-year-old man answered the door to the small, ranch-style home near to the edge of town. "Oh my, you got a bunch of hooligans and hoodlums. I hope you don't beat me up," the nice man joked, as he handed each of the children a small handful of candy along with a few temporary tattoos. "Thank you," the boys said again, as they hurried along to the next house. "Happy Halloween," the man said with a smile before closing the door behind him. The man chuckled to himself as he retrieved another batch of temporary tattoos that he had bought, before proceeding to dip the transfers into a pool of liquid in a glass baking tray, pulling them out to dry with a pair of plastic tongs, making sure not to touch the substance at all. The man's doorbell rang, where he happily jogged along to his door to give out more tricks and treats to the unsuspecting children of his town. "Hello there," the man said, looking down at the small boy in orange and dark green, a half-and-half shirt of the two opposing colors. His trousers were also the dueling orange and dark green, but opposite to his shirt. He also wore a small plastic pumpkin mask, where two dark eyes looked up at the man from behind the painted plastic. "What a spooky costume. Would you like some candy?" the man asked the small child, but the boy just stood there, looking up at the man, holding his candy sack open. "What's the matter, kid? Cat cut your tongue?" the man joked, but still got no response from the boy. "All right, here you go," the owner of the house spoke, tossing some treats and a temporary tattoo into the bag before closing the door behind him. The child, still standing there, arms outstretched with his bag open, the man then returned to the soaking and drying the tattoos, expecting to get a large turnout this year. He needed to make sure that he had enough of the artwork for everyone that stopped by. After handing out a few more of the tainted transfers of painted art, the man sat down to watch a few movies to go along with the holiday. He was a fan of the more obscure scary movies, Quartermass and The Pit, Intruder, The Hollow, but tonight he planned to watch the hidden gem classic, Tourist Trap. It was about an hour into the movie when the man heard his doorbell ring once again. It had been some time since he got his last trick-or-treater, and he knew it had to be late. "It's after 10, the man said, looking at his watch. The man got up and answered the door, ready to hand out more candy and temporary ink, but he didn't see any children. Instead, he saw a single pumpkin sitting a few feet from his door, pointing directly at him and smiling menacingly. "Damn kids," the man chuckled to himself and shook his head before moving the pumpkin down onto his walkway and going back inside. He then returned to his home and closed the door. He went back to his spot on the couch and continued his movie. He was only a few minutes further in when he heard a strange scratching sound, like something being dragged across the tile floor in his kitchen. The man sat and listened for a moment to be sure of what he was hearing, and again he had heard a scraping, like an odd walking upon the tile. The man leapt to his feet and ran to his kitchen, where he instantly flipped the lights on and bolted to grab the large knife from the block on his counter, before he then turned to look into his kitchen. But he didn't see anything. There wasn't anything there. He looked around, giving his kitchen a quick once-over before returning to the door that separated the entranceway from his kitchen in the living area, where he flipped the lights off. And in doing so, he caught something out of the corner of his eye, a flickering light in the center of his kitchen. The man stood at the doorway and turned to peer into his kitchen once more. There he saw two eyes, glowing like a cat's eyes, reflecting in the darkness, but these eyes seemed to flicker, almost like two candles in the dark. The man flipped the lights on once more, expecting to have to defend himself from some wild creature, but instead, he saw nothing once again. Confused, the man flicked the lights off, and again, he saw the eyes. He quickly flipped the switch upward to illuminate the room once more, and just as he had seen previously, there was nothing there. He looked around for something that could have made that kind of reflection, but he saw nothing of the sort, so he shrugged and flipped the lights off once again. And again, he saw the flickering eyes, but this time, they were close to him, just a few feet away. The man stumbled backwards, away from the thing in his kitchen, scrambling out the door and toward his front door. He unlocked it and turned back toward the kitchen, where he watched as the eyes came forward out of the darkness and the body they belonged to solidified into full form in the light. It was the child that had visited him earlier in the evening, the one in the orange and dark green outfit with the plastic pumpkin mask. The man didn't know what to do, and froze at his front door as the child advanced. It reached out and grabbed a hold of the man's arm, burning into his flesh upon contact. The man screamed in pain and slashed out at the boy. The knife grazed across his chest, but instead of blood, out poured all manner of creepy crawlies. Flies, maggots, spiders, and centipedes, scurrying critters skittering away, and beneath them, an endless darkness, like a void inside a decayed pumpkin. The man shrieked in terror and swung open the door to escape, but was now confronted with another shocking image. His entire walkway was lined with pumpkins on either side, all of them lit up with flickering candles illuminating his walkway. The man didn't care. He had to flee. He had to run, and so he did. He went down the walkway as fast as he could, and before he knew it, he was alone in the woods with no recollection of how he got there. I dosed myself, the man reasoned. I must have. Yeah, that's it, he continued. Then, out from behind a small tree stepped the boy, as if materializing out of nowhere. The man stumbled again and took off running. He just picked a different direction and went, running as fast as he could away from the strange boy. He made it pretty far in the opposite direction before he was halted once again by the boy materializing in front of him, stepping out from behind a tree that was merely a few inches wide. What are you? What's happening? The man asked, but he got no response. He turned once again and ran just like before. This time, only after a few yards, he was stopped by the boy in the pumpkin mask, just walking out in front of him, blocking his path. The man screamed once again, but this time when he turned to run, he tripped. The man stumbled and rolled, turning himself around to face the boy in the pumpkin mask, and when he did, the boy was already there, leaning down right in front of him, looking into his soul with those flickering bright eyes, like two raging hells in pits of darkness. The plastic of his mask bubbled and warped and began to melt away to reveal the hideous, unspoken, otherworldly countenance of the spirit of Halloween, the guise in which would drive any man to madness if his eyes were to lay upon its true form, even for a moment. And as this man peered into the darkness of Halloween night, his mind decayed and rotted away. The man jumped up and fled in a shrieking madness, arms flailing as the branches struck his body, cutting and whipping his skin. He saw lights ahead of him and kept running, hoping to find an escape from the madness of his mind. Finally, he made it to where he had seen the lights, and the last thing that the man saw was the crimson hue of taillights. The man exited his vehicle and approached the body on the road, where he quickly realized it was a person. He had hit a person. A middle-aged man now lay lifeless on the road. The driver quickly returned to his car and climbed inside before speeding away towards his home. The car only made it a few dozen yards down the road before a scream rang out, and it drifted off to the shoulder.
Well, you should certainly respect the rules of Halloween, or Halloween isn't going to respect you at all. So, get ready for the big night tomorrow, and remember all you've learned over the past 12 days. Or this Halloween could be your last.
Social media can be very unpredictable, especially regarding horror content. If this content gets removed, all new content will be simultaneously presented on various websites provided in the description to this video. Make sure to follow me in other digital spaces so that you never miss out on the terror. Also, if you like this video, make sure to leave a comment and hit the like button. It helps the channel a lot. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy what's here, consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you never miss an upload. Writing is a dream of mine, and it's all of you that make that dream come true.